decided to listen and be calm in the discussions and in the relationships, then a lot of things opened up. A lot of my ideas that were being fought then actually came into fruition because I decided also to just step back and listen and just encourage her. Then I push my agenda and we find that we are doing the same thing. So I'll advise myself that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you'd basically say, relax.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I was too confrontational. Yet,
Oh.
I mean, we have the same agenda. So you see now pushing your agenda. I think at one point she was telling me that I'm a bully because it was my agenda or nothing else.
Okay.
So I'll just, I mean, the moment I learned to step back and listen to her, then a number of things actually opened up, and even my agenda was actually being taken and without hitches.
Okay.
So the issue was that you
wow.
were just too focused on your thing, huh? That's interesting.
I was a bully from Hawaii.
Basically, you're a bully.
I think all husbands or wives who are bullies need to hear that one.
Yeah.
You know, it's like just understanding that one of the things you tell your younger self is, stop being a bully. Just listen, and it'll actually eventually pass, but with a lot less pain. So I can identify with that, Gilbert. All the bullies of the world, I think they understand that one. So we're Tukoengi, we're many of us.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay.
Awesome. Well, we had actually gone off. We went off the live stream for a bit, but I can see we're back at least. So apologies for all our viewers. We just, like I said, the technical hitches have been weird today, but we actually have been recording this on Zoom. So whatever parts you missed, we're going to make sure that we put them back on. But we want to.
Yeah.
We don't really need all this drama. So maybe we should just keep our money single.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think that's so I think one of the questions that somebody asked is the whole question of my money, your money. And basically this person was like, I think I seem to remember this person asking this question about why is it that money, that in fact they have my notes, why is it that the money people think about marrying is that of the man, but the woman's money is never touched? And it's that whole question of his money, our money, my money, my money. It's like the woman would just be like, it's all about, when it's his money, we share. When it's my money, it's my money. What do you think about that? Maybe I'll start with Gilbert. What's your perspective about that perspective, and what do you see as the advantages or disadvantages of thinking like that?
In fact, when I saw that question, it just reminded of our relationship, because for a very long time, that statement was coming from my wife that her money was her money, then my money was our money.
So it's a common.
So when I saw that
it's
discussion,
not something strange we're talking about
because
here.
it was one of the discussions. Yes. So for that was something that was in between us, and one of the things that came out of that sentiments coming out of my wife's mouth every other time was the fact that I was also now internally creating a rev, because you see it's a very big statement in terms of when you say the other time was the fact that I was also now internally creating a rev, because you see it's a very big statement in terms of when you say your money is your money and my money is ours. I mean, it creates really some kind of a gap in terms of the money and my money is ours. I mean, it creates really some kind of a gap in terms of the relationship. About the stories that you see out there in media, where people are married at one point, then they break up. What happens is the separation of properties. Well, so as a man, if you are the one who is all over, then what happens is that we share. Yet it's something that you worked hard, if I can call it, on your own, because then at that particular point, then the two of you are separate. The one as part of the responsibility to be able to cater for your family, to be able to leave inheritance for your children. So you acquire properties. So in my mind, one of the things that kept on just pulling me back is the aspect of now she's saying that my money is ours. So that means that if something happens, then she will not be part and parcel of it. So assume that I lose a job or something happens, then I'll not be taken care of because her money is hers and my money is ours. So
Yeah.
Yes.
I will not have the hours. So that means hers will remain hers and she will do whatever she wants to do. And you
Yeah.
see, the things that were playing in my mind then were like a movie. Yeah, because I mean, we've seen people separating because of that issue and so on. So I grew in resentment, especially in terms of financial resentment, because I was just figuring out then if she's saying that, is she in this marriage really? And I think so many times I used to ask her, are you sure that you're in this marriage together?
Yeah.
Because if you say that statement, then it means you're not in it. So in terms of our financial
I like what you're
oneness.
saying, because you're saying that
And over time, as time goes,
yeah.
yeah,
So I'm just going to interrupt and just say, I think what you're saying, what I hear you saying is there are vulnerabilities that are introduced when you have that perspective of my money is my money, and yours, or my money
Yes.
is ours, and yours is yours, because there's a danger of one spouse feeling I'm the one in charge. Since we're using, especially if it's a man, we're using my money,
Yes.
then I'm really the one in charge. Power differential that you've allowed to enter into your marriage. But then there's a space where somebody starts feeling vulnerable because if something happened and I didn't have the money at the center, and this happens a lot, the guy loses a job and all of a sudden respect goes out of the window because he's no longer able to bring that job.
Yeah.
And I think what you're saying is you're actually setting the seeds for the destruction of your marriage. When you have that perspective of my money is our money and your money is your money, it's actually an extremely dangerous thing for both of you, for both the man and the woman in the marriage. I think that's what I'm hearing you say, Coach Gilbert.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Faith,
And just to add on
anything to
it,
add to
because then
that, just from your
eventually,
perspective situation?
For me, what I can say, looking back at when I was coming into marriage, I would say that I came into marriage. The man is there to take care of me. Given as I'm coming into this marriage as a wife, I knew that the man is supposed to take care of me. Because traditionally, I'd seen from my parents' perspective, my dad is the one who used to take care of most of the household needs. So I knew, as much as I'm also going to be working, my money is actually going to push on me against anything in case probably this marriage doesn't work out. So you see, when I was coming into marriage, I was not given, I was not taught that when you come into marriage, then you guys have to share the resources and everything. As for me, I'm there to support him.
Oh,
yes,
wow.
as the neck. Yeah, that is the twisted perspective that I came with into marriage. But over time and as we've been living, with Gilbert being the bully he is, so we've actually found a way, because this issue, we really used to fight a lot about it previously. So we came and found a way in which we can be able to work in as one, so that at one point we were, there were some bills I was taking care of. He was taking care of some other bills at one point. That is how we used to work. Then later on, we came and put our finances together, and we actually started paying the bills together from one kitty.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, I know that
But-
a lot of financial issues that that
But
we
maybe just
experience,
to
a lot
add
of them
on it.
have to do with the way that we were brought up. And I'm so glad, Faith, you said that the way that you were brought up, or the idea that you are coming with into marriage, was that a man is supposed to take care of you, and that your money was really like a contingency. If things do not work out, at least you have your own nest egg, something that can take care of you. So it would be very interesting for Gilbert. What were your thoughts regarding money when you came into marriage? I mean, you did say that you had that arrangement, but what were you thinking when you came into marriage? What were your thoughts?
so from my perspective, and of course how I was brought up and how I saw our family getting into it, and actually she brought in something that has been very key, because from her upbringing, I mean, the dad used to be the main financial. So the dad used to be the one now controlling the resources, giving the resources, and so on. But on the flip side, on our side, is, you know, my dad, my late dad, was an extravagant person. So many a times you find that we are constrained in terms of resources. So you find that then my mother has to now fetch for resources in circles where she used to work in a government, so that some of the fees for us can actually be paid, so that then we are not chased out of school.
Yeah.
So that really, for me, coming into marriage, I mean, I saw that effort that my mom has been doing over time, and I was just coming in to also expect some level of effort also from her in terms of just supporting and creating something together. Because looking back, I didn't want to be in a scenario where if I become so extravagant, or she becomes so extravagant, and then we can't take care of basic resources and even investments together. So that was back in my mind, and actually just growing up into that kind of an environment, then that's how my twisted financial mentality came in.
Okay.
So I think you guys shared with us that at some point your differences, because you came from such different perspectives, your differences actually almost led you to separating, to actually saying quits on the marriage. Maybe tell us a bit about that, how you got to that place, and what were the challenges that actually drove you to the place where you're like, man, this is not working.
Yeah. Okay. So I said, this discussion around financials and those statements that are being thrown here and there, over time it created some resentment in me. So I just started having these imaginary things in my mind that if she's saying like this, then she's not in the marriage to be there fully. So she's one leg in, one leg out. So there were so many other things now that I started also doing on my own out of that rage. And of course, then for her, those other things now that I was doing was actually affecting her, because from where I sit is majority of the things that I was actually started doing now on my own, for example, coming home late, especially over the weekends, Fridays, Saturdays, and possibly Sunday, just finding myself engaging a lot with my friends. So it was actually created a majority out of that resentment of, I felt that she's not in the marriage because our money hers is hers. But over time that created an issue with her. But over time also, looking at that statement, and I see the way she was also investing a lot with her friends, because she had a group of friends where then they contribute and invest together. So every time I used to ask her, why can't you come in with the same passion and then we invest together, so that then we build our family together. But of course the statement is, I have to invest also with my friends in case otherwise, and so on. So you see, that issue really grew deeper in me, because how can she invest out with other people, yet I have been asking her several times we invest together, she's not necessarily willing. So that really created a deep issue, and of course for me that was the main issue. For her, all these other issues that came into place as a result of my rage was an issue. So we ended up in a space where we actually took a break from each other for a week.
Wow.
Because it was a serious issue, and then we decided, let's just take a break from each other. So we lived with us in separate places, houses, definitely she moved out of the house to her friends for a week.
Oh wow.
As we think through whether it's something that we can resolve or not, and I think for me, after that scenario, because later on we had to make a deliberate decision to call a few of our accountable friends and also our parents, because now she had to. I was very categorical that then this thing where it has reached, I think we just need possibly to involve one of our parents. So her mom came.
So I'm going to let me pause you there down, because we're going out of the hole, but I think what you're saying is money issues can be so serious, and I think that this is common knowledge that money is one of the top cases for separation and divorce, not just in this country but worldwide. And so what you're saying is things got so thick that you were actually separated for a week and moved into separate places, contemplating whether your marriage was going to be actually viable, whether it was over. And I think that's such a powerful thing. My prayer is that what you're saying is hope, because there's somebody who's watching this tonight who's probably at the place where they're at the end of their titha. They're feeling this marriage cannot work. We don't know if there's anything left. And to see you guys together 12 years and loving each other, and not only just that, but now helping other couples. I'm praying that that is actually encouraging to somebody who's watching this, that it's actually true that even as bad, as deeply as we've sunk as a couple, it's possible, and by God's grace, we can actually get to the place where we are helping other couples. We can get to a place where we're the ones who are being a blessing to others. But let me just ask Faith, before we get back into how you came out of this, how are you feeling at that point? I mean, you've moved apart. Were you remorseful? Were you feeling it's this guy's fault? How are you at that point processing this whole thing? Could you tell what was actually going on?
No, when I was that time we had separated, I wouldn't actually say that during that period that I was remorseful. I was I actually felt that I was right and he was wrong, and that he was not trying to see things from my perspective. And he also was arguing that I'm also not trying to see things from his perspective, because even as you are talking to friends, you try and understand his perspective from another friend. Then you say, don't you think even whatever he's saying is it's not logical? Even if you're listening to him, do you think he's being logical? And probably also when I talk to the friend who comes back to talk to him, he is also feeling that I'm also not being logical. So I think we were at a point where we were both selfish. We are not willing to listen to the other person. We are not willing to understand them. And that's probably that period I was not remorseful. Wow. I was remorseful probably later, but not during that period. I felt like I had my stand, and I felt that I was right in all aspects.
Wow. So what year was this in your marriage? You guys are 12 now. What around when was that?
It was in 2018.
Wow.
Wow. So that was just 3 years ago.
So let's hear the story then. And you're at the rock bottom. Everybody's pointing fingers at the other. Everybody thinks it can't be me, it must be you. Everybody's justifying their actions, and I think this is a very familiar situation for couples, because when you're at that rock bottom place, you really cannot see your space. You actually just see the other person's fault. So maybe Gilbert, let's go back to where you had started. You felt this thing needs to be resolved, and your first step was calling parents into it. So tell us how you guys climbed out of that hole.
Yeah, so we called a meeting where now her mom was in, my mom was in, and a few of our accountable friends, and of course then we came into that meeting. Every one of us came in with their own arguments. So it was a raging meeting, where now, I mean, she was given a chance to share. So definitely you could see that this is not a resolution meeting. And from my side, I also was coming in and say. And I was sharing my perspective in terms of this is how I feel. This is how I feel she's more inclined to. Others, her friends, in terms of building things together, but not from a family perspective. From her side is now all the other issues that have done out of that. So it was, I mean, the first like 30 minutes was more of raging issues. And at one point, even now, you could see that then the parents are also coming in and